All right, we'll start off with injury update. Khari Willis with the concussion, Will Holden with the ankle, and then Michael Pittman is still being evaluated. All right, difficult loss, tough loss on the road, tough to swallow. You know, when you come out in the first half and play the way we did, you know, good in all three phases except for the turnover, played a dominant half of football in the first half. And, you know, went out to a nice lead. We're able to mix it up, run and pass, really played good on defense as well. You know, just gave them the short field the one time that they took advantage of. And then the second half, we just didn't have any answers. You know, on offense, you know, we got backed up one time and on our 1 yard line and couldn't do anything with it. We've been especially good in that area of the field all year and failed when we needed it most. And then we come out the next series after they had gone down and scored or threw the long touchdown pass. And, you know, we take a sack on the first play, we get behind in the sticks. And so we got in a rut on offense in the second half, to say the least. You know, defensively in the second half, you know, just too many big plays. You know, make them go the long route. They got big plays and obviously big penalties. They weren't all big plays, just weren't all completions, but, you know, a couple penalties in there. And then at the end of the day, you know, we lost the turnover battle. We lost the turnover battle, you know, with the two, and we weren't able to generate any turnovers. You know, that's going to be a big deal in a late December game with two good football teams. The turnover battle is going to come up huge. But you look at what we did, you know, overall, ran it a little bit, you know, were able to throw it, help stop their run. So in many regards, you know, checked off some boxes, but can't make the mistakes we made with the penalties, the turnovers, and that's really ownership by coaches and players. That's what's most disappointing. So, you know, what we just talked about was, you know, we no longer control our own destiny, but all we can do is take care of our own business. And that means learning from this film, having a good week of practice, and then finishing up the regular season with a great performance. And then hopefully we get some help. All right, I'll open it up to questions.
Greg Doyle, you want to start us off?
Sure. Frank, I know it just happened. I don't know how much time you've had to think about it, but you're up 24-7. What do you think of the offensive, I guess, your play calling from that point on?
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. You know, we got backed up on our own 1 yard line. You know, we called a run. I called a run, got nothing. Then we took a shot, and, you know, and then we're just trying to gain a few yards and to give ourselves room to punt. And then we come out in the next series. We call play action pass. They got a pressure on, and you know, in hindsight, I should have anticipated the pressure. I should have anticipated the pressure on the first play of a series after they just scored. So I didn't. The play action pass, can I pick it up? Yeah, but I should have called something quick, get out of the hand quick. You know, they pressured a little bit more in the second half. They were playing a lot of base defense to our sub-O. We called a few runs, not many, but just felt like we couldn't get that going. And then secondly, they were the pressures that they were bringing, they're playing base defense against our sub-O. So some of it, we had to go to a couple pass checks a few times that runs were called. Probably had 3 or 4 runs called that we ended up having to check the passes because of pressures that they were bringing. So, yeah, it wasn't good enough play calling on my part.
If I can add a second one, defense too. Normally, the second half, your defense, you guys out adjust the other team. This time, they out adjusted you, or did y'all just stop playing the way you did in the first half, go prevent, and it cost you?
You know, I didn't feel like we went prevent necessarily. Many of the same calls that we had in the first half. Just, you know, they still didn't run it on us, but you got a future Hall of Fame quarterback over there, and he got hot, and they had the momentum. He kept finding completions. He just kept finding completions and keeping drives alive, and then found ways to create a couple big plays. And then even after, you know, he was keeping them alive with some dink and dunk stuff, find ways to create big plays. And then they created big plays with some penalties that they got, some pass interference. We knew this, you know, we knew coming in that, we get a scouting report on everybody, including the officials. And this, this group, we knew coming in that they called a little bit tighter on the back end. This group calls a little bit tighter on the back end. We knew that coming in. So we just need to play a little bit better there.
Kevin Bowen.
Frank, going back to the play calling, I think Jonathan just 2 carries in the final 25 minutes. Do you feel like he should have been more involved?
Yeah, I would have loved to get him more involved. I mean, like I said, we got backed up one time and called a run. It didn't work. The next time we called a play action pass on first down and lost 8 yards on a sack. And then we had several, like I mentioned, there were several other runs called, probably 3 or 4 other runs called that they're bringing pressures. And if we run into the pressure, it's going to get blown up. So, we got an experienced quarterback to get us in the right play. And when they're taking it away, they were forcing our hand. And normally what our mode is, hey, if you're going to force our hand and run some pressures or play a certain personnel group on defense to take away some runs, then, we're going to hurt you in the pass game. And we just weren't able to do that. When they forced our hand into the pass game, all it takes is to hit it 1, 2, 3 times to get them out some of that stuff. And we just weren't able to get that done.
Zach Kiefer.
Frank, we know what Costanzo and Braden Smith means to your offense and how it changes the way you call the game. How did it impact the game today, the way you called it without them out there? And did you feel like you guys did enough to combat their pressure?
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of, we were trying to help the tackles when we could, particularly on 90, unless it was a short, quick rhythm throw. The one sack early in the sack fumble that led to their early touchdown was a play we've run a lot. It's short crossing route, and I give them credit defensively. They schemed something up. They anticipated it. They dropped guys out in coverage where we're normally just kind of get that ball out real quick. And they dropped guys out in a zone drop kind of coverage, a blitz zone kind of coverage, and had us covered. And Philip was just trying to buy a little time. I thought the guys, I know we gave up 5 sacks. I think I got to look at the tape. Obviously, but I felt like the guys, the 2 tackles, just from watching with my eye during the game, did fine. And as far as how we mixed it up, it was, like I said, it was a mix of thumping the guys, trying to throw some quick rhythm stuff. They pressured a lot, and then they beat us on a few pressures, but obviously not good enough coaching or executing on offense as far as their pressures were concerned.
Joel Erickson.
Frank, why has the secondary struggled some here in the second half of the season for halves at a time?
I would say that, obviously really happy with how we played in the first half. And then in the second half, part of the answer is you're going up against a future Hall of Fame quarterback. And he's going to you give him enough attempts, he's going to get completions. They got good players. He's really hard to sack. He's the least sacked quarterback in the NFL. And he's good at finding completions. And so he did that. So that was, I think, more the answer than anything today.
Jim Aiello.
Yeah, Frank, I'm trying to sort out what you were saying about, if they take away the run game essentially and they force you guys to pass, and that's okay. What I guess went wrong? Look, they were maybe dropping a safety over the middle to take away some of the crossing routes. What were some of the other things I think that they did, or I'm asking, did they do to take away, the passing game that was working in the first half?
Yeah, we obviously need to look at the tape, but what it felt like out there is either on some of the blitz zone stuff that they played, they covered us, or they got to us with the pressure. And so, without going into the details of how we philosophically think and what we do in those kind of situations, the bottom line was we just didn't execute well enough today. And when I say we didn't execute well enough, that means as a coaching staff, we didn't give our offense enough answers. We didn't have enough answers to combat what they were doing. When I normally feel like that's when we're at our best, between coaching and playing it. Today, we were not. So we got to take ownership of that, starting with me as a play caller and as an offensive coach, but really our whole offensive staff. And then as players, we got to take ownership of executing a little bit better as well.
All right, we'll go last question, George Brummer.
Coach, you mentioned that you talked to players about losing control of your own destiny. The mental attitude and that part of the game has obviously been a big part for this team. Is this a big challenge now, overcoming a setback like this, adversity like this today? Yeah,
I know. I feel very confident in how we'll respond. That's what we talked about in there just for a minute was, very disappointed about what happened today from all of us. That when we had everything to play for, we just didn't have the answers, coaching and playing, that we needed in the second half to win a very important game. But, you can't take away all the positive stuff that we've done this year, coaches and players. So I'm not doubting us. I'm not doubting our coaching staff. I'm not doubting the players. I'm not doubting what we're doing and how we're doing it and who we're doing it with. We had a bad game and our bad half, and we weren't able to finish it off. So we got to learn from it, get better for next week, and take care of our business next week and finish the season off the right way, and then hopefully get some help.